and she uses her power to grow wings, and he has to touch them to make sure that they're like correct. And like, aren't they an androgynous zone? So is this
a what zone?
What did I say?
An androgynous
sorry.
zone.
Welcome to Recapping Romantasy, hot takes on hot literature. Who are we?
We are me, Emma.
I am Maura.
I am Tabitha. Recapping Romantasy contains mature content from fairy smut to dragon rider torture to monster genitalia. Be sure to check the episode notes for content warnings and links to our social media.
So, we are back with part 2 of ACOWAR, A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Gotta write that
Got
down.
it right this time.
For you, it has been several weeks. For us,
It's been like an hour.
Less than maybe
Yeah.
15 minutes.
a
Well,
pee break.
Yeah, pee break. So we left off. The group is going to the High Lord meeting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into it. The solar and winter courts are the first to arrive to the meeting. There is some reminiscing and peacocking until Tarquin from the summer court appears. Then Baron and the autumn court arrives, and the meeting is finally starting when, boom, Tamlin smashes the door open. He uses the meeting to air his dirty laundry, basically. And he's a messy bitch and almost succeeds in convincing everyone that Rhys is trying to work with Hybern until Rhys takes away Tamlin's ability to speak. Because remember, he's the most powerful High Lord who's ever High Lorded before. And he's married to the most powerful High Lady. So he's like, shut the fuck up. And then he sets everything straight. They finally start to talk alliances until Eris calls Maura slut and Azrael goes apeshit and tries to choke him out. Feyre then like Mother Teresa's him to get him to stop. It's like very dramatic. She slowly walks across the room and places one hand on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. It's like, please, no violence. Then they all agree that the first thing they need to do is find a way to destroy the Faebane. Because if you don't remember from part 1 or the book, the Faebane is like taking away their powers, and Hybern is planning on using it to win the war. So they're worried about this, as they should be. But we actually don't need to worry at all, because right after they say this is a really big fucking problem, Hellion has a master tinker, Nuan, who's made an antidote / vaccine for the Faebane. So why do we even bring that up?
Lucky. Honestly, okay. Like when they brought up the Faebane at this meeting, I was like, what? Because it's been so long since they even talked about Faebane before that I was like, are you telling me that this was actually a thing that people are scared about?
Yeah.
Like this is going to be used in mass? Because I was like, I didn't think that was possible, but I guess so. And here we are talking about it again.
But we don't even care about it because, again, there's already a vaccine. So.
Already check mark off the list.
Basically. Baron, who's the High Lord of the Autumn Court, says some gross shit about Rhys and Amarantha, and then Feyre attacks us.
So this is literally the longest student council meeting where everybody knows everyone else's sexual secrets that has ever existed.
This meeting is so embarrassing for the Night Court.
Yeah.
The rule was, like, the one rule was no fighting.
Yeah.
And first Azrael and then Feyre have to be physically restrained from hurting people. They're like wild animals.
They
Yeah,
are kind
they
of like, Azrael, come on. Come on. You knew that someone was going to say something about Maura being a slut. Like, just let it go.
You've been around the block. Aren't you supposed to also be 500 years old? And
They're
you're
all
like
500 years
surprised by this behavior? Anyways, so Feyre's like going apeshit and attacking Baron. And then she reveals that she has magic from all of the High Lords. Because remember, that was like a weird secret. So once shit has finally calmed down and everyone's like, sorry, we'll keep our hands to ourselves, everybody. Nesta gives a little speech about the horrors that she saw in the cauldron, and everyone except for Autumn decides to fight against Hybern. And like, as Maura said, it could just be that I'm taking notes on this, but I've become so annoyed with this book because this whole meeting was like a bunch of high school cliques trying to decide on a prom theme. Could none of them be mature? They're all supposed to be like over 500 years old.
Yeah, it's not because you're taking notes. Literally all they do in this meeting is snipe at each other for the stupidest shit. And then they all start growling at each other. Now, I was listening. Okay. I was listening to the dramatic reading. So they would start talking and they'd all start growling. And then before you know it, literally all the actors are growling at each other like, "Rawr." And like, I just started laughing because then also I lost count of the number of times Tamlin's claws come out. Like, they're coming out all the time while they're growling, so just imagine this. And then at one point, just one claw popped out of a knuckle, and at that point, I just literally started cackling. I'm like, I can't take this seriously anymore.
That is very Wolverine.
Yeah, it is.
Also, as someone who has bemoaned the lack of gay romance in these books, the High Lord of the Dawn Court is sort of passingly described as being in a relationship with his male captain of the guard. And I felt like I was trying to look around the big slap fight that was happening and see what was going on with them. Like, what are you doing over there in the corner, guys? Anything interesting?
No, you just have to watch all these straight people fighting. It's like,
How dare you say that to my man?
basically, yeah. Like in high school friend groups, they're just like weirdly incestuous.
Yeah.
This is what the whole thing felt like. Like, I don't know, guys.
And it just kept going and going.
Yeah, just
Many
like let your
chapters.
friend ask your ex-boyfriend from freshman year to prom. Like, it's gonna be fine. Anyways, so it's over now, and the inner circle is chilling in their suite after the meeting. They're all chatting when Hillian shows up, and it turns out he was just putting on an act, everybody. He is chill, and he jokes that he's still waiting for more Cassian and Azrael to join his bed. So also a bi character now.
Yeah, I mean, we only see him with a woman, but yes.
Yeah. Side note, Reese jokes with Feyre that they should also have a threesome, but like, who would be their third?
I say the Weaver. She's got a hot bod. I have a butterface, but hot bod.
I just call bullshit entirely. Like, Reese is like, I think he'd like another male worshipping you. And I'm like, dude, you beat up your best friend for merely suggesting he'd hook up with her. Let's not do this.
Guys, I'm gonna confess something.
Okay, go.
I saw, I don't know what book this happens in because I still haven't read the others. I saw a TikTok about some fan fiction where like Reese and the guys are in like a sauna talking about like how big their wings are, their penises are, whatever. And someone makes a joke about like sharing Feyre or something. I don't know if that actually happens in the book, but in this fan fiction, they all share her, and I read it.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no,
Nothing about any point in that story surprises
Nothing
me.
about that is shocking. Also,
No. Yeah. Anyways, it was fun. If you want to read it, I can't remember what it's called, but
That would be the biggest twist if that's where this book went.
right? That would be awesome. I say write it in there, Sarah. Whatever book's coming out next, put it in there. So they discuss the Autumn Court. That's it. But more importantly, Feyre discovers that Helion, I don't know how to say his name.
I say Helion.
Helion?
Because it's basically like the Greek
Oh.
god Helion.
Or
Yeah.
helium. Okay. More importantly, Feyre discovers that Helion is Lucien's real father.
She surmises.
Yeah,
Yes.
she just like works it out.
Yeah, she just kind
Nobody
of works
tells
that in her head. And he's like, yeah, I think he probably is. That would be amazing. But also Helion had like such Oberyn Martell vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might as well just imagine him as Pedro Pascal in his youth. And,
Except black, right?
no, he's not black.
Oh, he's not?
No, she says that he is actually of Persian looks.
Oh, I don't know why I thought he was black.
No.
Maybe the fan fiction is black? I don't know.
I think she writes him as having kind of brownish skin.
Oh.
And
I just
the
always
way
code that as black.
the way that Americans code that, they code it as black.
Okay.
But she has said in interviews that she envisions like a Persian look.
Oh, so Pedro Pascal maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I'm here for Daddy Pedro. The next day, I forgot about this scene. The next day, Nesta throws up in the koi bond during the meeting and complains that something is wrong with the cauldron because we got a barf.
Yeah, it's the first barf of the book.
I think it might be,
Isn't
honestly.
that amazing? I don't. That
Yeah.
can't possibly be.
I wonder if her.
Also, do you think it's better or worse that she threw up in a pond?
No, I think it's disgusting.
Like,
Well,
the fish ate that.
I was just gonna say the fish ate it, so maybe it's better. I don't know. And the thing that's wrong is the wall has just been destroyed by Hybern. Wonder which hole they went in. So they all go back, and back at the townhome, Elaine convinces the inner court to let her talk to her ex-fiance, who was human, because they need to shelter as many humans as they can, and he's going to be the one to do this. Feyre and Amryn go to the library to make another deal with the beast who lives there. Feyre promises the beast, and his name is Bryaxis?
Yes.
Bryaxis.
Bryaxis, okay, that he'll get her a window. him a window if it fights. Well, I guess isn't it?
I was gonna say they use male pronouns, don't they? For it,
I think they do, but it feels more like an it.
Yeah.
yeah. He's like a cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of smoke.
It's an it.
We have rewritten it. It is now an it.
Feyre promises the Beast Bryaxis a window if it fights for their side in the war.
Yeah, this is again where I'm going to say the alliances with the beasts are so simple.
Yeah.
They're like, I want a window for my lair, or I want to make sure you're pure enough of heart to help, or whatever bullshit. Like, they all just want to stay where they are for some reason, and I found their wants really disappointing for how terrifying they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I say this like 100 times, but the stakes of all of this are just like unbelievable. Not in the fact that like they're unbelievably high. I just can't actually imagine any of this is scary to them.
Yeah.
Like these scary monsters won't
Right.
go outside. They want to stay in the cages that
Right.
have been made by them.
Yeah.
The Hybern, like we don't actually understand his true motivations for anything other than he's just evil. Okay. Like the Faebane just immediately
Done.
It's
Finished.
over.
I didn't even know it was a problem before it was fixed.
Yeah. Who cares about it? It would be a really good kryptonite, like a literal kryptonite, if you will, for all of this. But no. Let's just move on to anything else, I guess. Okay.
The middle distance stare you had there.
I'm just defeated by
You've
it.
seen so much. The trauma that we've experienced.
God, taking notes on these books is like painful, guys. Not necessarily because they're bad. Like there are good points in them. I enjoy them sometimes, but man, you just like notice everything stupid. Like I would read my favorite book and take notes on it, and I'd be like, "Why the fuck did they do that?"
You start thinking about it too much.
That's
That's
yeah,
the problem.
yeah.
If you could just like ride the stupidity, you'd be everything great. But
Yeah.
we can't do that. We
Yeah.
have to sit there and look at it and be like, why in the hell did that happen?
Yeah. So back to the plot, I guess.
If we
As
must.
it is.
Yeah. We're actually now in part 3, the High Lady. Moore glamours Elaine so she can talk to her ex-fiance. So now she appears as a human. Elaine tries to chat with her ex, but he ain't having it. He knows that she's a fairy. And she's like, how do you know? And boom, Jurian steps out of the shadows. Gasp.
That man's main skill is suddenly stepping out of shadows.
I mean, I respect it.
He's just like always kind of where he shouldn't be.
He's kind of like Batman in a
Do you
way.
think?
Yeah.
Do you think when he like walks into a room, he like immediately like, okay, where's the darkest shadow?
He probably has just like bombs, like he has like
Yeah.
the smoke bombs, just like throws it on the ground and just appears.
He's got like a cape that he reveals himself from. So anyways, he admits that he's actually been double-crossing Hybern the whole time.
Shocking.
Wow, he doesn't actually care about killing Miriam and Draken at all. Don't you be yawning.
Yeah.
We have like a whole hour to go through.
I'm good. I'm good.
She just yawned full throat into
Yeah.
the mic.
I'm still here.
So anyways, Jurian just wants to apologize to Miriam and get them to fight with Rhys and them. That's it, guys.
Jurian is literally like, why didn't you read my mind? It was right there. And Rhys is his reasonings for it are basically, I was worried I'd see Amarantha in there. Like he isn't a High Lord who can't be a little discerning with the memories he sees. So like, come on.
Also, I'm sorry, but wasn't he
Oh, yeah.
just saying to Moore that like he would do anything that not like
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
like little piss baby she is. He would do anything to protect his friends, but he
Right.
like won't peek into this guy's mind because he's afraid he might see his abuser.
It might be too spooky in
I
there.
would do
Yeah.
Amarantha again.
Yeah,
But
I
I
would-
can't look at the memories.
Yeah. I know people are flawed, but it was just a really weird take. Then Jurian reveals that after the High Lord meeting, Tamlin basically ran to Hybern to tattle about everything. And like,
Of
Right.
course he did.
mega eye roll at Tamlin. Number 1, for being a turd. And number 2, Sarah J. Maas is using this cliffhanger chapter thing to get me to keep going, which like I hate. But since this book is just like so unbelievably long, I feel like a little thankful for them. Okay, aside over. Jurian tells them where the attack is going to be, and he convinces Elaine's ex to take in the humans. He then tells the inner circle that he will continue to help them, but in secret.
I imagine this compound being like I don't know, maybe an acre or something. And then I'm like, how many humans are we talking about here?
Yeah.
How big is this compound? How big are the mortal lands in Prithian? What is the size? Like all the questions. Like this is basically like the bottom sliver of England, basically, right?
Yeah,
and just
England
like
and
one
Wales.
tiny little compound's gonna take in, I don't know, 6 families and call it a day.
I also know that they're supposed to be like rich, wealthy, like aristocrats, but in because they're like doomsday preppers in my brain, I just picture like a gigantic prison is where they live.
Yeah, well,
like
that's what I
barbed
was imagining.
wire fences.
Yeah, I was imagining like a courtyard, some like walls, and nothing.
They just exist in like a concrete warehouse. Yeah, there's no description of how big this thing is. I had the same thought a lot. Like they're gonna fit like what, 20 people in there? Like,
yeah.
Anyways, they have to bring tents to stay.
I grew up in a very rural area, and it was not uncommon for people to like map out like where the edges of their property was.
Yeah.
So you'd be like in a field or the woods or something, and you'd see just like the shittiest fence you've ever seen in your life that's like wrapped in barbed wire, like angled to the stakes pointing out, get off my property kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I imagined their place looked like.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so Elaine admits to her human ex that she actually has a mate, but she doesn't want him. She wants the human instead. And he's like, no. And then he breaks up with her for real. And then Nesta bitch slaps him, and it's beautiful, but also just so messy.
Go Nesta.
Yeah. Chapter 55 is not like chapter 55 in the last book. It actually sucks a lot. And and I'm going to get into a lot of my feels here. Number one, because Feyre has a heart-to-heart with Moore, and then she has one with Rhys. This whole chapter is the perfect example as to why this book is so long. Since this story is focusing more on the ensemble cast now in order to move the plot forward, and also give the reader more perspectives on what's going on, we as the reader have to watch our POV character, Feyre, rehash events that we've actually already witnessed, because that's how we get their thoughts and feelings on everything. And like, it's nice hearing Moore's thoughts and feelings about Jurian turning out to be good. And it's nice to see Rhys's like thoughts and feelings about like prepping for this battle. But if we were able to live that whole scene in Moore's head or in Rhys's head, we could have nixed this whole conversation. And we don't have to experience it through Feyre and then experience it again through a convo. Like, the convo with Rhys is set up for the battle that's happening in the next chapter, but like, just start the next chapter with Rhys's POV. Like, it would have just all been baked in, and then you could have cut out at least 100 pages from this. Like, we rehashed the I think Nesta might be death conversation like 7 times. Like, we hear it with the bone carver, we hear it with Cassian, we hear it with like Imran kind of, and then like with Rhys. I'm like, Jesus, like, yeah, why do you keep talking about how she's the bringer of death or whatever if you're not actually going to tell me what that fucking means?
And if there's not even any like, it doesn't come up in the rest of the book as to the answer, right? She waits until Silver Flames to actually just explain that. So,
but it gets beaten into you because you need to hear everyone else's reaction
over and over again. Yeah. And I do think that's a problem with point of view, as first person point of view for a book that is this long. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it worked for the first book. It didn't really work well in the second. We needed to have Rhys's point of view in there occasionally. Yeah. It would have been better served if there was other point of views in there. And then this one, it falls apart.
This one, it's really rough. Especially because you can see in this book Sarah J. Maas like toying with other POVs as you go through. Like we get forced into Lucian's POV through Feyre kind of like breaking into his mind. We get a random chapter or segment with Cassian's point of view, which I can't remember how that happens. We get Rhys's point of view at the beginning and at the end, and I think we get someone else's point of view randomly within here. Like, she understands as she's writing it, like, it's important for me to have you experience some other things, obviously, but she just won't take the step. Like, ugh. And anyways, it really bothers me because it does bog down the story, I think, a lot. Because I've already seen this. Why am I seeing it again?
Yet one
Unless
more time.
It's actually that important.
Yeah.
And then some things turn out not to be. Because...
Also, there are too many characters in this goddamn book.
There's so many.
Well, that's the thing that bothers me with all of these asides that take up a bunch of time is, like, as you say, she repeats herself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it assumes I care way more about certain
Yeah.
characters than I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I don't care about certain characters, but, like, if you're going to do some weird world building and you want to tell me about them, then do it. Don't just keep doing whatever this is.
Yeah.
Like you said, if Nesta is an avatar of death, tell me what the fuck that means and what she's going to do about it. Don't just keep saying it to each other like it's spooky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The word death is so spooky, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. Or, like, I don't know, foreshadow it a little bit better. Like, I mean, and maybe I'm missing things because I haven't read, like, the reveal yet, but besides them just saying it, I'm like, what does it actually mean?
You know what makes readers like characters in a book, like secondary characters, is them interacting with each other in a fun way.
Yeah.
That's what they like, not a character fucking monologuing at the protagonist.
Yeah. All of her characters monologue to a certain degree.
Right.
And it does good trying.
They have to. That's the only way that they can like communicate their thoughts and feelings at the moment. And it's kind of wild because Throne of Glass, at least the first 2 books that I've read in this series, it's multiple point of views. It's like in a weird kind of like third person point of view, but it's still, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
But it's still other people's thoughts and feelings coming through.
Yes.
I think in Crown of Midnight it comes across much better. Like it's clearer where the breaks are and who we're seeing it from. But it's honestly my biggest gripe with this book is it drags. It's long and it drags because I have to keep experiencing things.
I have to keep experiencing it.
Yeah. So chapter 56, after that downer of a chapter 55, the battle starts. The Illyrian army ambushes Hybern by arriving hidden behind Rhys's shield. And I've said this like 100 times, but like, what the fuck is this power system? How does magic work? Like, they can't like run out, but also like their magic can be blocked. Like, but he's also sweating because he's used so much magic. Is it a muscle or is it like lung capacity? I just need like a little more explanation, Sarah.
I thought of it like mana reserve in a video game. You know, like you run out when you do magic, and then you got to just like stand there.
Every person he kills drops a little like globe of
exactly.
empty.
Just chug it real quick.
He's got like a potion. Oh, okay.
People just dropping little hugs everywhere.
It took me like 2 whole pages to realize that the fight actually has started because Feyre was too busy describing everyone's armor. She also describes the Faebane vaccination procedures and the army layout.
Like, you know, if she had described the Faebane vaccination procedures better, I would have been into that shit.
Tabitha's like, please, I need that medical.
Right. I would like to say that I know what you guys are talking about, but I totally zoned out about here. I was just like, my brain just like stopped. It was like, I'm going to listen to this, but you're not going to actually take it in.
Yeah. I had to like literally scroll back because I was like, did the battle start? Like, I don't know. But Feyre gets some brownie points back for describing Cassian basically going all like gladiator on some commander. I was expecting him to turn around and yell like, "Are you not entertained?" And I was for that part. And then the battle's over because Hybern surrenders. And that's it. And like the chapter's not even over. Nesta notices that Cassian is injured and wraps him up. They're having a moment, and then Moore totally cockblocks it. Rhys and Feyre bone, but luckily we don't have to read about it. And Asriel appears and tells everyone that the rest of Hybern army is actually marching on the Winter Court. Surprise! So they go there, but Hybern was ready for them. And oh no, who could have guessed that? Rhys and Tarkin are exhausted from winnowing their entire army to the battle. And they're having another one, but Feyre just tells us the vibes, and they're losing. She's like, this is stupid. Where's the real army? Because this isn't it, right? So, guess who she goes to find? That's right, the Surreal.
3rd time's the charm.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, well, remember, all she has to do is like walk into the forest and yell for it.
Yeah, basically.
No one else can catch it. But...
She's got to have a chicken with her, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if she had one this time.
I said, by this point, they're pals, apparently.
Yeah. They're besties. They've got friendship bracelets and everything. So Moore actually goes to fight, and Feyre leaves Nesta to find the Surreal. So she ditches her sister. Like, bitch move. And she finds the Surreal, and it says they should use Nesta to find the cauldron. And it also tells her that if she wants to nullify the cauldron, she has to give her life.
Sure.
Yeah. But before he could actually explain fully, an arrow is shot through its head by Ianthe. Yeah, because Ianthe's back and she's ready for revenge. And apparently her hands are fully
Her hands
fully
are good too.
healed
Everything
now.
is fine. She can shoot arrows. It's cool. All is well.
All's fine.
Maybe it was a crossbow.
Oh. So she only needs a finger?
Yeah.
I feel like that's harder to heal.
Well, if
Well,
she's using
first
the
off,
other
time out.
hand.
They're both. I don't know how she shoots either. I don't know. I feel like failed.
I
archery.
choose-
Should have just given Ianthe a gun.
Hey,
She comes
they
in
have
with, like, a
cans of soup. Why
semi-automatic.
don't they have semi-automatics?
She's got never mind. I'm not gonna go down that. Okay, Ianthe's back, ready for revenge, and Feyre's like, "Oh no!" And so Feyre runs away for some fucking reason instead of, like, I don't know,
Fighting.
killing her again. Yeah. So she chases Feyre all the way to the Weaver's cottage, and the Weaver's like, "Oh, I smell that you met my brother. Bygones be bygones, I guess. I'm gonna eat your friend." And then Ianthe's dead by, I guess, cannibalism. I don't know if it counts there, because the Weaver's
I don't know
like
what the Weaver is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, neither do I.
She's human enough. I'm calling it
That's
cannibalism.
fine by me.
Feyre's then like, "Oh no, my friend the cereal."
Runs back.
Yeah, so she runs back, and with its dying breath, it tells Feyre to leave the world a better place than you found it.
Oh my god, this was all just so that she could find frickin' Weaver and convince the Weaver to come help her by like a side quest.
Yeah. Well, actually, technically, Reese does that.
Oh, right. So
Yeah.
what the hell was the point of all this? Okay, well, anyway, moving on.
It was, I don't know, for SJM to tell us the tagline of her whole story. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
just like, I mean, I'm in full hater mode because this book put me in like such a fucking slump, but that line totally removed me.
Yeah.
I was like,
You don't have a coffee mug printed with it?
no. It was bad.
This whole part felt very Dobby dying on the beach for me. Like, technically, the Suriel is a dangerous monster. And it's one thing to have a professional relationship with him, like Feyre had before.
Oh my god. I just like spit White Claw out of my nose.
But now she's like holding it as it dies, and it's like, Feyre, Archeron.
Yeah. Please leave this world better. It needs you.
This is also sort of like Feyre just like thinks she befriended a really mean raccoon out in the woods. And then it gets shot, and she's like, oh no, my friend.
It's like a little too topical right now. Someone we know got bit by a raccoon. Mm-hmm. Talk about Midwest.
Yeah.
And then Helion? I don't know. I think my
Helium.
Helion.
I think my phone autocorrected. Helion appears out of nowhere and takes Feyre back to the camp. And the battle's over now, so we didn't really miss anything.
It's perfect. I love that.
I didn't want to read it
I didn't want to read
anyways.
the battle. She had to go off somewhere else. I'm like, good, do that, Feyre.
Bye. She's back at camp and finds out that they didn't lose the battle somehow, even though they're like very much losing. And no one's mad. Reese is actually like, maybe, I don't know, next time leave a note. But he's not really upset she left because he uses the bond to tell her she can make her own decisions because he's a feminist.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for letting me make my own choices.
We learn that apparently Cassian almost died, and Feyre leaves the tent and tells Nesta that Cass is okay, and then she immediately leaves to go, comfort him. Moore then gets irrationally angry about Feyre lying to her and like ditching her, and then Feyre is like, look, who's the pot calling the kettle black here? Because you've been lying to us for ages. About what, dear readers? About her apparently having feelings for Azriel. Like, Feyre, I was on your side, but this is nowhere near the same. Like, you're in danger. I don't know. Anyways.
No, that's not an apples to apples comparison. Like, you endangered your life versus you weren't being truthful with Azrael about your feelings.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the time or the place for this dumb conversation.
You've literally disappeared in the middle of a battle, and we thought you were dead.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, my raccoon friend that I was taking cheese to got shot.
Really needed me. And she's like, but none of that matters because you just lied about caring for someone that we're friends with.
You cared about the boy you told me you liked.
Yeah.
High school.
God, it's so bad. So then they're like, okay, we have to actually find Hybern. So Nesta like gets some random bones and throws them, and they find that Hybern is stationed at the Night Court. Dun dun dun. So Feyre wakes up in the middle of the night because she senses that the cauldron is watching them, and then they look for Elaine, but she's gone because the cauldron stole Elaine to get back at Nesta. Apparently, inanimate object holds a grudge, I guess. And no one wants to actually plan a way to get Elaine back because that worked really well for them at the end of the last book. So instead they're just like, oh, no, I'll do it. No, I'll do it. No, I'm going to do it. And Feyre's like, no, shut the fuck up. I'm just actually going to walk in. And she transforms Ianthe. She transforms into Ianthe. And then her and Azrael leave. And I know this is supposed to be like dramatic or flowery prose, but it looks ridiculous. In the next chapter, there's this line. I'd somehow assumed they were beyond it, mythic, unending in their strength and rage. But they, too tired, ate and slept.
They pooped. They barfed.
So this is a great time to talk about Sarah J. Maas's awful syntax.
It's weird here.
Yeah, she has terrible syntax. Her writing is so overwrought, and with the amount of times she uses the words those and that in simple and often incomplete sentences, usually just thrown into conversations to make them more dramatic, absolutely drove me nuts. So an example of this is not an actual thing that she says, but an example could be, quote, stars gleamed in those midnight navy purple eyes, unquote. And this is a favorite construction of her. She uses it with Reese a lot.
Yeah.
And then like another one would be, quote, that old magic, dark and fathomless,
yeah,
unquote. And like, they're not actual quotes, like I said, but they might as well be. And it's fine to do this a couple of times to break up paragraphs, but she does it constantly. Like every few sentences, she does this. So the narrative suffers in part because she is always tossing this shit into the pot, and it often to describe or impart details and past book happenings we already know. Like Feyre was poor. I knew that. Reese has purple eyes full of stars. Yes, I knew that too. We get it. Shut up.
I think it's... Go on.
You tell me if you have ever looked in somebody's eyes and thought there are flecks in there.
Okay, this is going to be a strange thing, though. I like people's eyes, and I do actually look at them a lot, and it's a weird compliment I often impart. So I am...
Did they have flecks in their eyes?
Well, some people have very interesting, like, patterns in their eyes.
I use the word striations.
What is striations?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
They have striations in their eyes of colors, different
yeah,
colors.
Yeah. Or like a
I wouldn't say
star.
You have flecks of gold in your eyes.
Yeah, but who the fuck in a story is going to say, like, you have beautiful striations in your eyes? To be honest, I think the problem with this is maybe like on the scale of Fourth Wing to the Lord of the Rings trilogy in terms of how we write fantasy language. This is not really in the middle. I don't know which side it would be on, because sometimes it's like very kind of modern how they talk, not necessarily like the words they use. Like no one's saying end game or anything in here.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
But like I think the syntax is trying to be fantasy, like a little high fantasy without being it.
Yes.
And I'm like, it works and doesn't work because it is all from Feyre's point of view, which I know I just shat on like 20 minutes ago. But it's sometimes jarring here. Like I literally stopped and I was like, they too tired and ate and slept. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
It's her attempt at being dramatic.
Yeah.
Through language.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work because it's just, it makes you want to go in there and punch her in the face because it's just like, yeah, we knew that they tired and ate and slept because they're people.
Yeah.
They do those things. Like,
Yeah, this should, if they're going to have a passage like this, it should be more about like Feyre realizing that she has been naive about the reality of the enemy that they face.
Yes.
But instead, it's like, did you know they also poop?
They visit the toilet.
Yeah.
They have hygiene problems.
It's like
the
she
rest of us.
she just read Everybody Poops and was like, oh, everybody does poop.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like she's just like, they're just like us. And it's just so naive and ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
I understand that was like what she was trying to impart here. And I think it is kind of an important piece to point out because, as I've joked about, everyone here is just so comically evil. Like, in a part that it's, as I said, unbelievable, like how just stupidly evil they're supposed to be, and we're just like, okay, yeah, I guess so.
One of the notes when they go to this camp is that there's like random rape going on or something.
Yeah.
It's not outright stated.
No, you just hear yelling or something.
It's like kind of happening in the background,
Right.
and I thought, oh come on.
Again, it's like PG-13 villains.
It's like here's the thing. Not to get too dark, not to get too real.
Do it. Do it.
If that was happening in the camps, then it would also be happening in the Prithian camps.
Yeah, I know.
Like soldiers are going to be soldiers in a war.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like, don't bring it up unless you want me to also think that Prithian is doing it.
No, but they're the good guys.
Let's be honest here. It took them forever to get most of these courts on board with them, and half of those courts are assholes.
Right.
Well, we know that Illyrians are sexist.
Yeah, true.
The Illyrians would be doing that all day if they could. I mean, Autumn Court would be doing it all day if they could.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like, a lot of them are jerks. Like,
Again, we're not pro-rape, but...
no, none of us are. We're just saying
this
that...
conversation took a weird turn.
It's just
I know what we're saying.
It's just the way that she's trying to make the villains comically evil.
Yeah. Well,
when it's like, if you introduce that stuff, it makes me start to question the side that's supposed to be good. Because...
the only good side is the Night Court. That's the only good one. And even so, they've allied themselves with the Illyrians. And they are partially
also,
Illyrian.
Time out. The Court of Nightmares, which is like the worst people ever, supposedly. Ugh. Okay. Good sidebar, everyone.
Starting with syntax, ending with rape. It's fine.
I don't want to say that's like our tagline.
Sarah brought it up first.
Right.
Yeah.
She did.
It wasn't us.
She started
it.
So, actually, exactly what we were talking about. Feyre sees the... Wow. It's like we planned this. We didn't actually, this section, but Feyre sees the Hybern soldiers partying and torturing a child of the blessed follower, because remember, Hybern is evil, even though they too shit.
And
oh my god, what if they don't?
No,
maybe that's what makes them
they
magic.
actually just poop out of nowhere and then they magic it away like Hogwarts students. Okay. Jurian appears out of nowhere, as he does. He takes her to Elaine and the cauldron, and they have to run out of the camp while being chased and shot at because it's action. They almost don't make it, but Tamlin shows up out of nowhere at the last second, and he saves Feyre, who's been shot.
Isn't he in beast form?
Yeah, he is in beast form. He's like a weird beastie guy. Despite falling on her ass every other time she's tried to fly, Feyre pulls it off, and they fly out of the camp and winnow away.
In the story tradition of the thing the character has been failing at all book/movie, suddenly getting it to work with the stakes as they are super high.
Yeah.
Totally classic.
Yep.
Yeah, which IRL is usually the opposite.
Right.
You get performance anxiety.
Yeah. They return to camp. Azriel gets a little peck on the cheek from Elaine and let the ship war begin. I will say, besides like the shit that we chat at the beginning of this chapter, it was kind of fun at the end.
It was fine. I mean, a lot of me questions why we even had to have all of this, but whatever. Let's move
Again,
on.
we got to make the stakes high and then immediately remove them. Moore and Feyre make up. Feyre apologizes for some stupid reason, and Moore admits that she doesn't love Azriel because she's gay. Sorry. But actually, like, she's bi. She's not truly gay enough. But again, that's basically the reason why she doesn't love him. She explains that she slept with Cassian because if she was quote unquote sullied, her father wouldn't be able to sell her off to the Autumn Court like a broodmare. Oh, also a weird aside. Rita's bar in Valaris is a gay club. Not plot relevant, but I just found the detail so stupidly funny. Like, cool. Cool. Do they have drag bars too? Like,
God, I hope so.
that would be actually
That'd
awesome.
be great.
It was strange.
This whole thing was so weird to me. She said it as though it was this huge confession, like that she was a lesbian and no one else knows this. Does this mean that for like 500 years she has been worried that the Court of Dreams would be homophobic? And is she saying that she never admitted it because it would hurt Azriel, like Binge? Do you think knowing that you don't like dudes like that would mean that maybe he could move on? Like, why would you just continue to lie and to like sleep with other men in front of them? Because she sleeps with Helion.
Yeah.
To like put him off rather than just be like, hey, dude, we best friends, but I don't like you like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't like boys like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how is this better?
It's not. I mean, I'm with you on all counts. Like, this isn't really a spoiler for A Court of Silver Flames, but
Okay,
in
I'll allow
that,
it.
Cassian explains to Nesta that the Fae don't do change quickly. I think we all understood that. So I can kind of see that the culture itself would be extremely homophobic towards her, but the Court of Dreams,
Yeah.
the performative, you can have it all, baby feminists,
Right?
seriously? So yeah, and then on top of that, like, how do you explain this to Azriel? He's been spending, I don't know how long,
Like 500 years.
an extremely long
Yeah.
amount of time pining after a person that he considers to be a good friend, like
Right.
the best friend, like basically they live together.
Yeah.
So like how do you even tell him at this point the truth?
Yeah.
Which would actually have been best in the beginning.
Right. And I'm not one to say like you come out at your own time more. But
Yeah.
but
I
like
will say do it within 500 years.
Yeah, 500 years.
yeah, I don't know.
On top of that, to keep on like stringing Azriel along as if that's the better option when you know he has no opportunity with her. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. The whole thing was kind of like, oh, there needs to be a gay character.
Yeah.
Let's make it more. And then also her like confessional was very strange to me. She was like, yeah, I couldn't tell anyone, but I'm telling you now because you're such a good friend to me. But also I had like a very involved relationship with this queen, but we couldn't be together because, you know, she had to reproduce. Like,
Yeah, and I apparently kept it secret from all of my friends that I'm like super duper close with.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, I really found it strange that number one, the Court of Dreams, this like beautiful like utopian group, wouldn't be accepting of this.
You know, they could have just
If it was written more like she herself didn't feel ready to tell people, like she was still kind of like grappling with her identity. And then for some reason in this like weird, like, I still love you, favorite, we're still best friends. She like admitted it or came out, you know, that I think would read better. But instead it was like this weird kind of like dirty secret. Not just like Moore felt it was dirty, but others in the book felt it was dirty and she couldn't tell people.
Well,
You
they
know?
could have just had her essentially come out in this book and had it be like the moment that she decides to tell Feyre because Feyre's new.
Yeah.
And then she could find out like, oh yeah, like the Court of Dreams, they're like, oh yeah, we all already know.
Yeah.
But we know that you were human and we know that humans can be backwards about these things. So
yeah,
we kept it
yeah.
on the down low.
Yeah.
And then as far as Azriel goes, look, he's not the first straight man to fall in love with a lesbian and he won't be the last.
All true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they could still have the like romantic tension
Yeah.
that Azriel has been into her for that long, and she's like, I just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and she's like gay but bi. I mean, I know
Yeah.
I know like queer is the term that encompasses, you know, whatever.
Well, it's
kind of not, but
what happens.
I'm obviously not.
What happens a lot in books that have like a secondary character who is like quote unquote bisexual is they will only ever show them sleeping with or having relationships with someone of the opposite gender. Because it's like you get the cred for having a queer character, but you don't actually have to show any gay shit.
Oh God,
I've seen this a lot.
doing the least. So
Yeah.
yeah. I do have like a secondary line with this, which is there's been this talk on TikTok, and I don't know if you've seen or heard it about Moore being the maybe betrayer in the next book. SJM keeps kind of like alluding to there's going to be a big betrayer in the. I don't know if it's specifically the inner circle, but within the book, like group is going to get betrayed. And everyone keeps saying it's Moore. And I kind of worry that this weird, like, I couldn't tell anyone that I was bi. And I kind of use it as an excuse to lie to Azriel. You know, this is me not being truthful. And also her, like, I tell the truth power bullshit that we don't know what it is. I worry that this is going to be like a weird, like, see, she's sneaky. She's good at keeping secrets. And I don't love that. I
Oh yeah, having the
gay person be the betrayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a good look, Sarah.
It is not.
I mean, I don't know if that's how it's going to be, but
it's not the first time she's done that. in her books, but
Crime
she does it in Crime at Midnight, and so I wouldn't be shocked if it happened, especially since I think she could interpret Rhys giving her father and the Court of Nightmares access to Valaris as a betrayal by itself, and she might react poorly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the overwhelming consensus, I think, for me is that no, just don't do that.
Yeah. I do also feel like that's where it's going to be. A lot of people have also pointed out that during these battles, she is like not really there. She's like at the beginning, at the end, or I think it was in last book, Rhys and Feyre get like ambushed as they're flying somewhere, and Moore was there at the beginning of this and then not at the end, or not during the attack but at the end. It was like, oh no, what happened? And everyone's like, you did it. The theorists say this.
Do we think maybe what's happening is just bad writing?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh.
I mean, my next line that I was literally going to read is, I feel like this whole explanation is just a straight person's understanding of gay people, which I do realize is like me, the pot, calling the kettle black here. This is kind of like, I have a gay friend, you know, bullshit in this book. Mm-hmm. So, but moving on, you know, happy coming out day, more. But there's a battle to plan for. So they have a little battle brief, and they prepare for the final battle. Well, what is probably the final battle. They do this weird thing where they all boast about needing to die for the humans. Like, they're all very set on wanting to die, which I feel is a bad war strategy. Like, why doesn't one person at least try to survive? You know, who's going to lead Valaris and the humans that they want to save if they're all dead? Like, I hate myself for making this, but this isn't like Sailor Moon where they are dying in every battle against the big bad, but it's okay because no one actually knows what's going on. Like, at least on Earth, Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask don't rule any kingdom, you know, because like alternate universes or whatever. And also like Sailor Moon comes back to life by the power of like the crystal, but
I'm taking your word for it.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, but if they all die here, they just die for forever, but they're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Someone will protect those humans after we're dead and gone.
Yeah, this part felt very much like a skit to me. It was like one person was saying, I'm going to die. And then another one was saying, no, I'm going to die. And then someone else said, oh, no, you don't. It's going to be me who dies.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit like that. And then Amren interrupts them, and she's like, I know a way to stop the cauldron and the army. But we don't hear how.
Amren spent most of this book reading a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. Actually.
Once again.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. We do find out how. The sisters all have to touch the cauldron together and then somehow nullify the cauldron. I don't know how that works, but it's going to. But first, they have to get to it. Oh, actually, just kidding. Feyre winnows to the Court of Nightmares, and she gets the Ouroboros mirror.
Apparently, she could have just done that all along.
Yeah.
Easy peasy done.
Well, I didn't say this, but it's because it's super scary, and she'll like lose her mind or whatever by looking into it. Right. You know, that snake eating itself is really scary. Mm-hmm. Scarier than the bone carver or whatever. Mm-hmm. So anyways, she finds the mirror and it reveals the monster within her. She returns to the bone carver with the mirror, which is apparently like the size of her. It seems like in the book that it's ginormous when she first sees it, but whatever. And he actually didn't even want the mirror. He was like, oh, wow, thanks. And then throws it against the ground and it shatters into a million pieces. Just kidding. He doesn't do that, but that'd be really dramatic and awesome. Like, just so fucking petty. But he actually just wanted to see if she was worthy of his help because, quote, a rare person can face who they truly are. So, like, Feyre is apparently a monster at heart. Like...
Yeah, this whole chapter was very blah, 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 the darkness within me. It's like, oh, so you're a monster at heart? Join the club, sis.
Yeah. I can't remember if they even showed what the monster is.
No, they
like,
don't.
They don't say what it is.
They don't.
Yeah.
She just sees herself like fucked up and the bad stuff she did.
Yeah.
Like Dorian Gray.
Yeah, I imagine like she shows up with the mirror like all sort of disheveled from it.
Yeah. The sisters dress for war. Also, we're at chapter 69 right now.
69, nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The sisters dress for war, Azriel gives Elaine a knife, and he decides not to fight after Moore manipulates him by using his feelings for her. I know he's hurt, but if he wants to fight and die like the rest of us, I don't know, you should just let him. Mm-hmm. Rhys gives like a weird graduation speech / pep talk. I don't know. I'm not really sure. It was strange. He's like, we're all wolves. Fight, everybody.
Inside you, there are 2 wolves.
It was strange. The battle starts, and Feyre shows Rhys his mating present, which she first reveals is a tattoo of the phases of the moon. Same girl. And I hope hers looks better than mine. She
Yours
pulls.
is fine.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. My dad says it looks like a bunch of cookies, so
He would.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that at all.
no, me neither. Then she pulls away her glamour, and it is hiding Braxis and the Bone Carver. And then the Weaver shows up too, and Rhys is like, "Hey, I got you the same thing."
Bunch of monsters.
And then he mists a whole bunch of people to death. Mm-hmm. They fight more, and you can't really tell who's winning, so he might as well be losing. Until, what's that? Gandalf the White arriving at the 11th hour? Close. It's Baron, and then Tamlin, and then Jurian, and then Grayson, who's, if you forgot, Elaine's human ex-fiance.
I certainly did.
Yeah, like who?
I actually don't think I named him in the previous part, so shows how much I care for him. And they're all showing up like literally one after another, after another, after another, after another with their armies.
Was this the part I said it kind of reminded me of at the end of Lord of the Rings when like everyone one at a time walks into Frodo's bedroom?
Yeah.
In slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're here, and you.
Mm-hmm. And you. Yep. Hybern then unleashes the cauldron, and Nesta throws up for some fucking reason.
Oh, you know why?
Yeah.
It's because Maas is into that.
Gross. The blast takes out almost all of the Adder, which is his own army, but also the Illyrian army too. The Bone Carver gets hit and he disappears as well.
I hate this. So the Bone Carver's dead? Like, what does that even mean for a creature like that?
I don't know.
Cauldron jumps Bone Carver.
I don't believe it.
They get a reprieve, and Elaine is vomiting now too.
Just out of nowhere.
Just why not?
Just gotta throw up.
Yep. I'm sorry, I'm like becoming delirious.
Have you ever seen the episode of Futurama where Fry gets turned into a human?
No.
So not Fry, Bender.
You could. I don't. They're all the same people to me.
Well, Bender's a robot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes
and
more sense.
he goes to this device that turns him into a human. So he like tries to like be human, and he's like seeing stuff that the human body could do, and I think he like spits or something, and he's like, neat, I wonder what else it could do. And then there's this brief pause, and then he just throws up. And then he's just like, ha ha ha, and like keeps making himself throw up all around. Everybody's like, stop it. I don't know, that's kind of like this.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm sure she threw up for a reason, but it was not important enough for me to write.
think it was.
The cauldron's doing stuff, and it's making them barf.
Okay. The rest of Hybern's army shows up, and a third horn blows, and it's Draken's winged army with Lucian and Vasa, which is like the human queen, I guess. I don't remember.
That turns into the Firebird.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. But it wasn't Lucian who found them, but actually Feyre's dad. And oh my fucking God, who else is going to show up?
This is very like Rise of Skywalker when they all come in.
God.
Or like that
movie.
Endgame movie when they're like coming out of those portals and it's like literally everybody who's ever been in a Marvel
On your
movie
left.
just showing up.
Yeah.
And they're like, who are these people even? And I'm like, who knows? They're all here.
It was, it was a lot. I saw actually a really funny TikTok that was, I wish I could remember the name of the classical song, but it was like the one with the cannons in the background.
The Overture, 1812 Overture?
Yeah. And they were like, when you're reading the end of a SJM novel, and it was just that song in the background. And everyone was like, ACOWAR. Yeah, that's how I felt reading this. Nesta lures the king away with Cassian to protect Feyre and Amren because they're looking for the cauldron right now. And to remind us how strong and evil Hybern is, he kills the Weaver and then feeds her to his dogs.
Again, what does this mean? She's not like a creature from this realm of existence.
Tabitha, stop thinking so hard about these
it's
things.
like this is just super dumb, and
Yeah.
just like accept the dumbness, allow it to wash over you.
At least like the Death God siblings have been reunited, I guess. Silver lining.
Yeah, they can stop being so scared of each other.
Or is he now? Oh, they really just like cursed him to live in like hell or heaven or whatever the fuck they have.
They talk about it being like a different plane of existence.
Oh yeah. Wow, that sucks for him. Shit.
It's so dumb.
All right, we're gonna stop thinking so hard about it and move on. Feyre and Amren reaches the cauldron, and Feyre touches it, and then she's like latched onto it. She's like stuck, basically.
Yeah, it's sticky.
Because Amren.
Can you imagine?
What if it's just like goo?
Yeah.
It's a cauldron made of super
Yeah,
goo.
you finally get your hand on it, and you're like, oh, gross.
Disgusting. So she touches it. She's stuck on it now, like disgusting. And but she's like shocked by it because Amren has tricked her into doing this. And then Feyre watches through the cauldron, because again everything's from her point of view, as Rhys turns into a beast a la Howl's Moving Castle. The king winnows in front of Nesta, and she's ready to unleash her power, but the king has her dad by the throat. And like Nesta hated her dad for 2 whole books, but now she's like willing to give herself up for him. And like, I'm not saying like familial relationships aren't complicated and messy and gray, but like, I don't know, we're losing so much by only seeing Feyre's POV here. Anyways, it doesn't even fucking matter because the king just snaps his fucking neck. Yeah. So then Nesta shoots. This whole book. Nesta shoots the king with her power, but she fucking misses.
Did she even have power to shoot? That
I don't
didn't
know.
seem- out of
She
nowhere?
like, well, her death power, whatever the fuck that means. I just picture her like shooting kind of like a green, like,
Yeah, I know.
narcotics, not the word.
Necromantic?
Yeah, that.
Necromantic power.
Narcotic. Just shoots cocaine.
Like kind of like Spider-Man, but like narco, like strings of narcoleptic, whatever.
Just, like, heroin out of her. We are never allowed to record this all in one session again. Oh my
We
god.
should have stopped like an hour ago.
Yeah, we've been here for so long,
It's,
guys.
it's okay. It's fine.
Okay. So she fucking misses, and so they have to fight more. And then, like, during the fucking battle, her and Cassian get a little smooch in right before they're about to die. But it's okay, because Elaine steps in. Well, actually, she steps out from behind the king and removes her knife from his throat. And, like, I don't know, I'm sorry. But what in the Arya Stark was this bullshit? Like, when did season 8 of Game of Thrones come out? And when did this book come out? Because, like, it was too similar. It was written up that it should have been Nesta killing him.
Yeah.
Like, it was Jon Snow's right to kill the king of the White Walkers, and then we just get the Game of Thrones writers in here and like, you know, oh, jump scare, it's actually Arya, it's actually Elaine.
Yeah. Like so.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Game of Thrones ended in 2019. ACOWAR was published in 2017.
Yeah, fine.
So I think they're just seeing well-used tropes in action.
Right.
But, or maybe someone in the Game of Thrones writer room read ACOWAR and was inspired. Who knows?
Probably, honestly.
That said, I'm okay with Elaine having a role, but why was she there is kind of the mystery.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that it wasn't a situation where you kill the head dude and everyone ends. Like everyone just dies because one dude died. Like
Yeah.
they still have to deal with the rest of the army.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
I kind of like this part. Everyone is like being super dramatic, screaming, swinging around swords, and Elaine just quietly walks up and stab him. And I know I've already said this, but she should take Ianthe's gun and shoot him.
She just pulls out like a sawed-off
Yeah,
shotgun.
exactly.
That'd been so fucking funny. Okay, sorry. Actually, I heard there's guns in Crown of Midnight in Crescent City.
Yeah, Crescent City's in a completely different world with
Can't
guns.
fucking win.
Yeah.
It's going to take me like 10 years to get to those books, but
they have cars too.
I tried
I
reading
think they
the
have
first part.
phones or something.
I tried reading the first part. I stopped because I was
Yeah.
like, I can't get into this right now.
Well,
but,
it's like ginormous.
But it is. It's like she's like living in some modern house and there's
my
like
God.
a security system and like there's a video monitor.
I don't need that in my
I
life.
know. And then you have to add in the fact that Reese is involved in this and Eris.
Spoilers.
And I think Reese anyway. Various portions. It's all connected. It's crazy.
Maura does not give a shit if you respect spoilers at all. She's always like,
No.
hey, these two people kissed. Hey, this happened.
No, I am telling you
No,
that you
no,
knew that
she's
Eris
good.
is involved.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like,
I knew that. I know.
There are certain characters that cross over, and I don't know which
I
ones.
did know
but
that, yeah.
That's
I've
all I can
actually
say.
experienced a lot of spoilers being in charge of the TikTok. So if you hate the TikTok, you know who to blame. It's me. Okay, sorry, moving on. Where are we? Oh, yeah. Elaine just shot the king.
With Ianthe's gun.
I'm so sorry to everyone out there. Yeah, so he's shot. Nesta then decapitates the king, which, like, fucking badass, and the best thing that has happened so far in this battle.
It's really mirroring Éowyn and Mary killing the Witch King of Angmar.
Yeah, yeah. That was so fucking badass when he was like, no man can kill me, and she's like, I am no man.
Mm-hmm.
She's so cool for that. Feyre comes back to herself, and Amren explains that she needs to be released, and she had to trick Feyre into agreeing to this. They have, like, a little goodbye, and then she, like, cannonballs into the cauldron and comes out as a dragon, maybe, or, like, a phoenix. I don't know. It's, like, purposefully vague. She then kills Hybern's remaining army and then flies off into the distance. When they unmade Amren, the cauldron broke into two, and now it's growing and will destroy all of the Fae. I picture it as, like, some gross black goo just, like... I don't know, consuming everything. Cerise is like, hey, no worries. We'll just, like, put it back together using my powers. And they do it, but he actually uses all of his powers, and he dies. Feyre is, like, ridiculously distraught. I know, like, the love of her life, her mate has died. But she forces all of the High Lords to give a droplet of their power to Reese. And she's, like, truly unhinged during this. She even promises Tamlin that she'll do anything if he does it. And he tells her, be happy, Feyre, and then gives his power, which is, like, a little redeeming, like, not to be like, okay, cool, marry me now. Reese wakes up and tells everyone to fish out Amra from the cauldron because no one can die. There's no stakes in this ever. Of course, she vomits when she comes out of the cauldron because of fucking course. And now she's just a boring fae.
Yeah, like, there's no stakes here. No one actually died.
No.
It's weak.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you're just a fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not some weird dragon now.
Amren should have died and stayed dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm also not super impressed with the turn with Reese getting the
Yeah.
drops from all the High Lords, but no worries, there are no consequences. He says, like, my power's mine, your power's yours, everything's cool. And, like, so we're just going to retread things that you've done before. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, whatever.
Yeah, and, like, for how heartbroken I was about the shitty ending that Game of Thrones had, like, the stakes in Game of Thrones were actually real. Like, anyone could die for any reason. Do I think that, like, a lot of it was used as a shock factor? Absolutely, especially when, like, the writers went off on their own shit. But this is my problem with having all of your characters being the most powerful, most bestest, most amazingest warriors ever. And, like, you're not even going to kill one, like, I won't even say main character, but, like, second tier character. All of this was basically for nothing. Like, and what's the next external conflict going to be? I'm not going to actually believe that it's going to be scary because, like, they've been made into gods now. Like, they've killed the most powerful being.
Right.
Who's next? And also, I've said this before, but King Hybern was like, oh my god, my brain is goo. Who's that fucking purple guy? Thanos from, like, he was brought along, and he basically was like comically evil, and like we were just told over and over again, like, he's the most powerful, he's got these stupid stones or whatever. Like, sure, he snapped and, like, literally snapped his fingers and, like, the half of the universe is gone, but who's more badder than Thanos? That's what they're gonna have to find now.
Don't you worry.
Oh God,
No. Actually, I can't tell you. I can't
Okay,
remember.
good. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
This is what I've always said that the TV show Supernatural suffered from. Like, what is it, 17 seasons, 16,
Yeah.
15, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I say this having watched 13. I forget where I left off.
It's already too many.
It's like you fought God in like season 10. Where are we going after that?
Yeah.
You fought the devil in like season 3.
Right.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot more you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I don't know, scrounge around for another demon, I guess. But
Yeah.
like,
Did you guys watch the remake of Sabrina the Teenage Witch when Netflix did it?
Yeah, I watched it up until like maybe I stopped halfway through the last season because I was like,
Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore.
They suffered from the same thing. Like
Yeah.
season 1, I can't remember who the real big bad was, but in season 2, it was like the devil or like the devil's friend or something. I don't remember. I don't know. I haven't watched it in so long. But in the third season, they had to like make up some random. I don't know. To be honest, it was like 5 years ago when I watched this. But same problem. I don't know. Sailor Moon does a really good job of this. Not to talk about her again, but also she's like Queen of the Moon, and they just keep like expanding the universe, and the universe is ever expanding. So, like the literal universe, like the first lady, Queen Beryl, she's just like the evil person on Earth, and then like the next season, it's like the evil person for like the Milky Way. I hate myself. Chapter 78, we're almost done. Again, the dad, his neck has been snapped, so they have a funeral for him, and then Lucian crashes it. Just a ceiling. Why is he always where he's not supposed to be? Like,
Because he is the little worst.
Yeah, but like not in the Jurian way. It's just like, oh fuck, Lucian's over there. You know, like, you know the guy in Hey Arnold who's like always behind the trash can, like heavy breathing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's Lucian.
Yeah.
We finally meet Miriam, and she's like, "I'll hide the cauldron on my secret island." Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, that's really it.
That's all you need to know.
Also, in the graphic audiobook, Miriam and Draken have what I think are supposed to be, Draken, have what are supposed to be, I think, French accents.
They do sound French, yes.
Yeah. Also, oh my God, I cannot believe it took me this long to mention it, but in the graphic audio version, now granted, I listened to it at like double speed, in the graphic audio version, when they winnow, it sounds just like a wet fart.
Ew.
It's super weird. Yeah.
It's like, my mouth's kind of dry, so I don't know if I could do it.
No.
Just like that.
Because she was listening to it at double speed.
Yeah.
At regular speed, it was like, woo, 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 woo.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Nope.
need to like Google
like-
it. Oh, okay. Please keep farting into the microphone.
It was just great to imagine them, though, every time they would winnow, they would just
like
fart a
letting
little
out
bit.
a little too, like a.
Yeah. I just imagine it being so insulting to the people you left behind. Like, did they just fucking fart?
Honestly, that'd be like the most middle school joke, but I could see Cassian doing that at every opportunity, just like a, and then leaving. Okay. So then, because this book can never be over, and we can never stop talking about it, Feyre calls everyone to a meeting, and they renegotiate the treaty. And then we're like 2 chapters left, guys. We got this. It's Rhysand's POV, and he's happy, and he wants to chill. That's literally it.
Yeah, cool. Great. Thanks for the contribution, Rhys.
It's perfect. No notes.
Back to Feyre. Her and Rhys now promise that if they have to die again, they'll die together. And they get matching tattoos.
Girl.
Yeah, I'm sure the whole die together thing isn't going to bite them in the ass eventually.
Right, like, they talked about this when Feyre, like, admits who the bone carver is to Rhys. She's like, it's our son. They're like, we should have kids one day, but not now. And then they fucking make this pact. I don't know. I'm not a parent yet, but, like, I have a cat, and I wouldn't, like, promise another person that I was going to die without, like, willing her to someone. I don't know. This is not very, like, forward thinking of them.
It's very...
Juvenile?
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes, my notes say super mature / sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then after they get their matching tattoos, they fly off into the sky together. The end.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Clap, 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 clap. She did it. She did it.
I did it, guys. We all did it. We were here together for
All right,
it.
So, wrapping up, what do we think?
You have to go
Emma.
first because you actually didn't technically write anything, and I
Oh, well, so I did this on purpose. I deliberately did not write anything in here because I wanted a dramatic reveal in here in the room with you guys. Oh. Guys, this is my favorite of her books so far.
No! What? Tabitha!
Oh my god.
Oh my... Do you see her off the chart?
I need to go lay down.
Look, there was like a lot of action. Feyre had her shit together. I had fun reading this book.
Jesus.
I've been keeping this on the down low for like over a month.
I feel like taking off my headphones and flinging them down and walking out.
Is truth your power? Are you secretly more? Like, how did you keep that from us the whole time? Do you have other things to reveal?
You didn't notice, like, when the two of you would start complaining about it, I just wouldn't say anything. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a good book by any stretch of the imagination, but was I entertained by this book in a way that I have not been by other Sarah J. Maas books? Yes.
There was also the least like explicit sex between hetero people,
maybe,
which I feel like might.
There were a lot of characters, a lot of stuff was going on. I had fun.
There's a lot of drama too.
No, I'm actually not super shocked by this because it isn't as romantic as her other books, and it is definitely way more actiony, which I think is more your speed. Yeah. So I am not super surprised, but I am just like, you're so hateful with Sarah J. Maas. I'm like, surely she hates this as much as I do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Maura, tell us all.
Oh, God. So this book is a big sloppy mess. During my first read-through of it, I was less invested since the romantic tension got sucked out of the story, and I struggled through it that time. Mm-hmm. And I struggled through it this time. Like, at moments, my eyes would glaze over and my mind would wander, and then I'd have to backtrack to remember what was happening, and I'd get bored all over again. And probably this is because the book really centers the war, which I'm not that big on that. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really invested, and I found the war totally predictable. So it was like, of course they win. Like, am I going to be shocked? No, I wasn't. So I also didn't care that Dad died. I did not care whatsoever. I was annoyed that Amren and also Tamlin lived.
Yeah.
Rhys dying only to come back like Feyre was uninventive, and I didn't find that really that interesting. Mm-hmm. Why would Tamlin even agree to help her after all of that? Like, honestly, he should have said, bitch, no, and walked away.
Yeah.
Feyre standing around on a mountain watching the battle was so weird, considering how active she was at the end of ACOWAR and at the beginning of ACOWAR. She just sort of stopped being active, and then the story for me just dropped.
That's a good point.
I just think that the book really fell flat at the end, and too many characters I didn't care about, too little of them to do anything, and it just like not enough time to build up connections that matter, and even more felt wedged in, which is saying a lot since she's a major supporting character. So I just was not a fan.
Yeah, this one was rough.
Emma?
I'm still so shocked by you liking it, but like it truly, I mean, it makes sense. It does make sense, but
I'm just so pleased I was able to keep that secret.
Yeah, honestly, I'm too. I'm the fucking worst at surprises. I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but I was not told about my mom's 40th birthday party. It might have been her 50th, but it doesn't matter. I was supposed to go to a party with my friends. I was in high school that night, and my dad was like, no, you can't go, but like refused to give me a reason because he was also keeping a secret from me and my mom. So he was like, no, you have to come to this random German area for this party. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, you don't even have a reason to ground me for anything. He's like, I don't care, I'm just doing it, which is weird. He's a strangely logical person at times. And then I showed up and there were like, my whole family was there. It was like a huge party venue. Like there was tons of, I was like, what the fuck is happening? And they're like, oh yeah, we're having a surprise 50th birthday for your mom. And I was like, you couldn't tell me? And they're like, no, we absolutely couldn't tell you. You were the last person who could know. They're like, we would rather mom find out than you. So I'm proud of you for keeping that secret.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In this book, felt like I was watching the last season of Game of Thrones. There were some good parts, some parts that were just fine, but it felt like most of it was kind of just cheap tricks and surprises to make me believe that what I was reading was actually exciting and fun and cool. I probably would have liked it more if I didn't have to take notes every chapter, then I could have just ignored the bad parts. The last battle, though, was so rough. Elaine killing the king was just like straight up, as I mentioned, Arya Stark taking Jon Snow's thunder, and just the battle it was like the battle with the White Walkers. Like no one actually died in that battle either. Like no one that really mattered, I guess. I know it's romantasy, but like I've said this 100 times. If the stakes are this high, you have to kill like someone a little more important than a dad that's been literally MIA through like the last 3 books. Hate to say it, but I do really want to read Nesta's book because I think we're going to get like back to the romance part. We got a lot of good glimpses of her and Cassian pining, and I love pining. Pining is everything to me. So I feel like it's going to be back to ACOWAR, but I'm just depressed after reading this. This book put me in truly a huge slump. Like, I didn't want to read for a very long time. And I think the other part of why I was upset, and same thing as Game of Thrones, is there was so much potential of what could happen, like things we could experience, characters we could get to know, as you were talking about. Like, there were a lot of people introduced, but like it was just here they are and there they go. There was no...
See, maybe that's why I liked this one and you guys didn't, is because I have no hope anymore.
You're like, who's Vasa? What does it matter?
Yeah.
Oh, look, a bird is flying by. It doesn't matter. Move on.
I gave up on wanting to know anything, planning to like anything that this author did. So I was like, oh, this is going pretty good.
I think the thing with me is I'm always looking at these books from a lens of people who really enjoy them and trying to figure out what it is about them that people love, and then feeling weird that I'm not seeing it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I think there's just a difference of opinion, and that's fine. But yeah, I keep looking into it and thinking, I want there to be something to love, and I'm just finding a bunch of characters I don't care about.
Yeah, this is going to be such a... I feel like Tabitha might know what I'm going to talk about. But there was this time during the Avengers, like, or the MCU, it was right after the first Avengers movie, when there was all this fanfic about like just the team hanging out and like chilling, and it was just like kind of like fun shenanigans all the time. And this is kind of what I was expecting, and maybe we just haven't gotten there, but this is kind of what I was expecting going into this. Like, there does seem to be that core, like the inner circle that has like the same vibes, I'm putting in heavy quotes, as what the Avengers team should have. They're this group of beings that they've got the really heavy like found family going on. They'll have their weird traumas, they'll have their weird like little storylines that we could follow, but they all come together to fight the big bad. They all live together in a house, but there's none of that like fun,
and they never get up to shenanigans together.
No, again, Cassian's never farting and then winnowing away. Like, that would be hysterical. I know he burps in that one graphic audio, but that's it. Maybe it's the next book, which I have heard is just like a filler. But I don't know. It's not. This book just wasn't very fun to me. Like, Fourth Wing was fun, and then Iron Flame, all fun, just sucked out.
Yeah,
this is the second time I made that noise in a podcast.
It is. I was like, about that. I was like, wow, she did it again.
I immediately thought keeping that in. All right. So who are we?
Yeah.
I think that I am Callias. I think is how you say it.
Callias.
I didn't
maybe.
Yeah.
Callias? Okay.
Callias, yeah.
The High Lord of the Winter Court. During the High Lord meeting, he gave a vibe that was like, these people are overdramatic cretins, but this is really important, so I'm going to stay calm and try to keep us on task. Sorry, I'm just realizing that mirrored what I just did to get us back to this segment. Like, I often have to take the lead in group projects.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that checks out for you.
Yep.
Maura?
I am back with Elaine this time. I didn't connect with this book, and I don't think she was super connected either.
No.
So we are similar in that way. Also, I respect her stress baking and ability to make big moves with little drama. Plus, she also gives Lucian the cold shoulder, so we might as well be the same person.
Love it. I'm going to repeat too, because I'm going to say I'm Nesta again. I just think I like her as a character with her, like, I know she's a bitch in all of these books so far, but, like, I love it. And I just, like, I think I'm not as much of a bitch as her. At least I hope I'm not, but...
You are seriously not a bitch. Are you kidding me?
Thanks,
You're like the least bitchy person I know.
Wow, that really felt like I was asking for a compliment. It wasn't. But thanks for giving it anyways.
Yeah, even our waiter today commented on how many times you apologized.
I know. He was like, wow,
meal.
you're just going to keep saying sorry, huh?
Do I have to talk about that at therapy again? Speaking of therapy, thanks for letting me exercise my demons with this podcast. That was ACOWAR Part 2.
That was a lot.
It was a lot.
There were revelations. There were tears. There was crying.
Almost.
There was laughter.
vomiting.
We've been through so much together.
This is the first time we've ever recorded 2 full-length episodes on the same day back to back. So that's why
we've been doing this for like 4 hours.
Yeah, this is why this one went pretty weird.
It was unhinged at the end. I'm sorry. Or maybe you liked it.
Yeah, maybe you're into it.
Maybe this will be your favorite one. Let us know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.